And if you want to get yourself onto that list, once again, all the details you can find on www.sepangcircuit.com, then the prize is an actual drive in the Malaysia Championship Series next season in one of these touring cars. How fantastic is that? And Sepang International Circuit will be taking you through all the training programs, but essentially the esports part is to identify, as Sepang always has, new talent that will make their names onto the global stage. So plenty to check out there in terms of the new developments, and just about ready now to get onto the formation lap. And once again, look for that car off on the right of your screen. Well, not now, but keep the Othman's number 46, Dr. Mayhem Racing Honda, is going to be looking to pick up some points to get back into this championship. I say that even though with 3 races down, Keithley was within the top 2 both of the first 2 races, and it was very unlucky to not finish. So really needed to get his 10 points. And yesterday, he was also one of the cars, one of the 6 cars I was talking about earlier, that essentially just ran off turn 15 because there was too much moisture on that corner. And it doesn't look like we're going to have that problem today. The heat haze, as you can see, just blistering for those cars. So 1 minute left before we get underway. That's looking at the grid. Fikri Rahim there, the number 321 off on your left. Keithley Othman on your right. Akid Azli starts behind them with Baron Sim on the second row. Mark Darwin, well, rather Boy Wong and Damien Dielenberg are behind them. Roy Tang and Go Li Heng follow them. Paul Fan on Yu Wei on row 6. Chong Chow, Ahmed Nasri Saad on row 7. Ahmed Amirul Haikal and Nick Ma, and that of course opens up the touring class as well. Important 0.2 classes of car, actually 3 for this year racing today. The touring production cars, the Honda Civics, 2 of them sitting right at the front there. The smaller Malaysia touring car class, which is Suzuki Swifts. And we also have a smaller production class as well. So Keithley Othman straight off the grid. He seems to have actually started a little bit earlier. But weaving his tyres to get some heat in there early on. Needs a good performance. Baron Sim there on the right of your screen. Been a consistent finisher and is in the top 3 of the championship, currently on 21 points. Had a good win in race 2 of round 1 and also a 5th yesterday in the rain. So a good position for him to jump from. There's that blue car just weaving on the left of your screen. That's Boy Wong, who's got to fill in, do the honors for Mark Darwin. Now they're coming past my commentary position, and everything's looking just about right. Of course, they're all going to have to form up in their 2x2 formation. Rolling start, as always, for the Malaysian Championship Series, and that can happen at the end of this formation lap or at the end of another formation lap, because it is up to race control as to when those lights, those red lights, can turn to green, and we can get underway with race 2 of round 2 of the 2018 Malaysian Championship Series. Now, none of these corners are going to be of any real surprise to these drivers. They've made their names around Sepang and the Malaysia motorsports community. They know these corners well. There are a good few overtaking opportunities on this circuit, but really it's the chassis of the touring production cars that will gauge where you end up. They're not low to the ground, as you can see there, which means you have to really watch yourselves when you're throwing the power into the corners and coming out. And that also, of course, did not help the rain yesterday. The downpour that happened was very sudden on the 9th lap, and was just at the pit window time. One pit window for each of these race rounds, or races within the round, and that is between the 25th and 40th minute. Compulsory 3-minute stop. And to be fair, most of the cars did manage to get into the pit lane and get their wets on, and of course gear out their cars ready for the downpour, but unfortunately turn 15 was just pretty much flooded. Once again, sterling work and congratulations to all the marshals and officials around the Sepang International Circuit for really having to spring into action yesterday when that storm hit. So coming around the southern side of the circuit now, safety car ready to peel off. Now there is Nick Marr and Brendan Lim from Tedco Racing in that brightly coloured Suzuki Swift. Big names, of course, in the NTC class. Keeping you up to date as to who's topping that. Really, yesterday when the downpour started, and you can check the highlights, of course, on the Sepang International Circuit Facebook page. Really, when that downpour started, the positions essentially went straight out of the window. So you could say that Fikri Rahim was gifted a win yesterday, but really has been putting in the good performances. It's consistency that wins these championships, as was proved by Mitchell Cheer last year, not racing this year as he is racing in a different championship, the TCR Asia Championship. So coming round to turn 15, this was where it was extremely waterlogged yesterday, and I'm trying to be as nice as possible there. Really no words to describe how much moisture was on that part of the track. One racing line through it, and if you weren't on it, you were out on the gravels. So onto the home straight. The red lights are on, and now it's green, up to racing speed, and Kifli Othman just pedals to the metal. Boy Wong comes out on the left side. It's going to be a fight into turn one. Kifli just drifting off left, wants to make sure he's got that line, and he should have it. I can't see. Well, how about that from Baron Sim? Extremely late braking, but that's what happens if you do that. You go out very wide from turn one, you have to cut into turn two. So Kifli Othman has managed to hold that lead, and that was some deft driving from him off the start. Good to see everybody making a clear start here. So now some pressure up at the front, and again it's these two cars that have been dictating the season so far, but this time Kifli Othman is in front. Boy Wong trying his hardest to get around Kifli. He's not going to let him go, or at least not now. Well, that was very, very wide, looking for every angle he can as you get into turns 8 and 9. This is uphill and then coming down. Really watch the power here. Now as soon as they come round for their first laps, the transponders will give us an idea as to exactly how fast they are going, but right now of course it is clear that Kifli Othman is up front. Baron Sim is tucked in third place. Boy Wong again looking for that gap. Kifli is drifting across, and now he's going to try and cut inside. Oh, this great defensive display from Kifli Othman. The question is whether he can keep it up for the next 52 minutes. That's the official race time, and across the line they come. just 0.5 of a second between Keith Hoffman and Boy Wong right now. And a big drift going into turn 1. That might have cost him some momentum. That was well controlled by Keith Hoffman. Just look at the way those cars lift off that initial chicane. Could have been trouble for Keithley going in. We're going to have a look at it again now. Look at that, just locked up that left rear, swinging a bit, but controlled it into turn 2. And we all know how desperately Keithley Hoffman wants these points. But he's going to have to marshal himself with the likes of Boy Wong hot on his heels, Baron Sim in 3rd, David Dielenberg in 4th, Akid Azli and Go Li Heng, both from Teco Racing, in 5th and 6th. Roy Tang's in 7th. And leading the MTC class, I can tell you, just as we look at Boy Wong trying on the inside, again gets cut out by Keithley Hoffman. But the question is, can he? Looks like he's through here. I was just about to say, can he keep defending? Right now they're battling it out, every line into every corner. That's side by side, and it looks like Boy Wong has indeed come through. And by the situation of those cars, it might even look like Baron Sim is coming through as well. He's closed right up on the front 2. So this battling for position, the top 3 in the touring production class. I wonder if Keith Hoffman is having some problems here, and maybe that lockup, well, maybe that lockup at turn 1 wasn't an accident. Still keeping pace here. Turn 15, a far more drivable corner today than it was yesterday. And there is our top 4, Keith Hoffman, Boy Wong, Baron Sim and Damien Dielenberg. Breaking away from the rest of the pack, that's Akid Azli just behind them, Go Li Heng and Roy Tang into turn 1 this time, and Boy Wong has all of the racing line and he's not going to give up any of that now. It's his turn to do the defending, but it has to be said that number 11 car has been fastest in qualifying, fastest in practice, and barring yesterday, where of course the rain really did, as I said, change the positions, could have been topping the championship right now. Now of course the points will be allocated towards that number 11 car, so if Boy Wong can pick up another 15 points, it will be added to his personal tally, but of course for Teco Racing, that's going to put them right up on front. And it still looks like Keith Hoffman has got himself good position here and has managed to recover from whatever theorized problem he may have had. Holding on to the line. That there is Nasri's side, if I'm right, in the R Engineering. Yes, it is. That's on your way just behind. Looking for a way through. Now on your way, of course, in the championship, second in the championship at 22 points, so some more points will be very welcome indeed. Currently in 9th spot, so a lot of work to do for On Your Wave. He's going to catch up. Currently 19 seconds off the leader, Boy Wong, so perhaps this battle is going to be the battle that On Your Way has to fight today. Behind them, Amarul Heikel and Kenny Lee, who is leading the MTC, the Malaysia Touring class, ahead of Nick Ma and Brendan Paul. Brendan Paul had a stormer of a race yesterday. Now the leaders have just gone past me, and you can just seen the back of your screen, that fight for the MTC. There they are. Kenny Lee from Kigani Racing, winner yesterday. In front of Nick Marr from Tekko Racing. Now the great thing about these Suzuki Swifts is in that rain, they were very competitive in the corners. Very low center of gravity, and that's where the advantage does come for those small MTC cars. These big touring production saloons, a little bit different coming into corners. And it looks like 2 cars are now under investigation from race control, and that is in fact Boy Wong and, just check for you, Paul Fan. False start, drive-through penalty for them, so that'll be 30 seconds added on it. If you do calculate the pit lane speed, you're going to have to serve that out soon as well. The pit window will be open in about 12 minutes. And 4 laps of the, I'd say 20. It's generally around 20. Completed so far, and now Baron Sim is pulling back a little bit in 3rd spot, either to consolidate those points or simply because these two that you see on your screen, Roy Wong and Keith Hoffman, are pushing themselves even harder. Damien Dielenberg also very close to Baron Sim, and Baron Sim just clipping that chicane. You could just see off the top of your screen. Have to wait to see if Damien Dielenberg could do anything about that. Now that is Boy Wong, our leader, coming into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty, I'm sure. Has to be. The pit window is not open yet, so that is a new leader, or we should say our old leader. Now having a look at this, that looks like on your way, and the start again. Now just have a look at Keith Hoffman and what he does, because he's going to push straight on as soon as those lights go green. You can see Damien Dielenberg pulling out on the right, Boy Wong pulls out on the left, but then you can just see Keith Hoffman just drifting over to the left, just cutting that line off, and managed to keep that through turns 1 and 2. So with the drive-through penalty served, we now see that number 11 car back on track. Get you an update as to exactly, well, it looks like in 6th position right now, so that was a costly false start, but of course the regulations have to be followed. This is played right into the hands of Keith Hoffman. If you put him in a position like this, then he might just be able to take it from here. He's currently 2 seconds ahead of that fight that you're looking at. Baron Sim in the number 66. Damien Dielenberg, number 44, harassing each other through the corners. Baron Sim had a lot of trouble in round 1, ripped the front and back off his car. Also came through with the results since then. Right now just defending that line. And as I said, these drivers are very, very, very familiar with the racing lines up here at Sepang, so they do know them down to the micromillimeter as to where they need to be and at what speed. Now looking at a couple of Toyota Vioses, that looks like it is Abdul Katir, one of the front runners from last year in fact. That Vios has put him in a different part of the pack this year. That is Mohammed Shafiq in the middle, the MTC Suzuki Swift. Eric Young from the ST Vangan Racing team is on the other side. This is the tail end of the pack. And they're soon, I'm sure, to be chewed up by the front runners who are currently lapping around 2:26. Now that's a big spin there for Eric Young. Couldn't quite keep up with the other two. That's a dangerous place to be off as well. I wonder if we're going to see a yellow flag. Having a look at that again. Wow, bit of contact there, as you can see. Now, too far away from the pit window. It wasn't a case of late braking. That was definite contact that led to that. That was Mohammed Shafiq, who now has to change that wheel, or has to at least manage that car around. Because it looked to me like part of his chassis, just off there, or something definitely came off from the contact between himself and Eric Young. And it looks like that car is in working order. A little bit rolling, it should be said, going into that corner, but that could just be from the speed. Meanwhile, Keith Leothman up front, building a lead, now 3.4 seconds ahead. Needs these points, don't forget. 15 points for Keith Leothman would be fantastic to take away after the 10 points that managed to pick up yesterday. Still won't be enough to put him on top of the championship. Vickery Ibrahim with 27 points. If Keithley can win, then he'll be on 25 points. But of course it does mean that round 3 is now going to be very interesting to him indeed. But now let's see whether he can do it. One thing that has to be said, and I'm not saying this for any other reason other than stats alone, is that reliability has been a factor for the Dr. Mayhem racing team. Not just last season, but this season already. Saw a DNF in race 1 and 2. Wiring problems was what it was in the end. Checking in with the MTC class. And that there is Danny Chin looking on the outside to get past Fadzal Alang, another one of the big names from last year's championship. This the 4th season for the Malaysian Championship Series. Well followed. Drivers love it. And of course this year, don't forget, also that MCS Championship happening at the same time concurrently. Now, a lot of cars coming past. The start line, and it looks like, yeah, back mark is being safely taken by our front runners already. Just 6 laps down. Back markers are now roughly 2:55, 30 seconds, lap 30 seconds slower than the likes of Baron Sim and Damon Dielenberg. Well, that's a great shot. You can see exactly how far away they are from our leader, who's right in the front of your screen. And that looks once again like Mohammed Shafiq, man who was involved in that incident. Baron Sim safely through. Today, it seems to be all about this man. Well-known name around the Malaysian motorsport scene, Keith Leothman. And building up a nice gap now, that looks, with the ensuing battle of Baron Sim and Damien Dielenberg just behind him. He's now 4 seconds ahead with 40 minutes to go and 4 minutes to the pit window. One person is guaranteed going to be in that pit window is Mohammed Shafiq for sure, and Eric Young, and it looks like it was Eric Young that has in fact really lost a piece of his bodywork from that little contact. Hasn't been the easiest of times for Keith Leothman. As we said, 10 laps completed in race 2 of round 1. And that's a stop car in a dangerous area. Well, they're going to have to rethink themselves getting into that corner, and definitely the marshal's going to have to pull that car out. Just trying to identify exactly who that was. Amirul Heikel, actually, in the Sport Production 1 class. That car is going absolutely nowhere. Toyota FT86. Still doesn't look like it's a dangerous part of the track that the other cars seem to be going through, and nothing from race control as of yet. Once again, pit window open in 3 minutes. It is a strategy race when it comes down to having just one pit window, and of course not knowing when that pit window is. Now I wonder when Amirul Heikel's car is going to manage to get, not surprisingly, the yellow flags are out while that car gets cleared for sure. Full course yellow situation, car's going to be down to full course yellow speeds. Not the first time we've seen it, as you can expect with the rains yesterday. That was full course yellow then as well. We had one in race, or round 1 I should say. Now this is coming just before the pit window again. So a good time for these teams and drivers halfway pretty much through the race to think about how they're going to run the second half of it. But one person that isn't going to be running the second half of it, by the looks of it, is Mohammed Amirul Heikel, as they still haven't managed. There you go. And that's what I was saying about the dedication of the stewards and the officials around SIC, really on their toes, got to that car, and now, even in neutral, trying to push it off track, get off the racing line. Yeah, probably better move that. And that, I'm sure, is going to be the end of race 2, round 2 for Mohammed Amirul Heikel. Meanwhile, our leader, Kifi Othman, there's Baron Sim in second. Takes a lot of mental focus when you're under full course yellow conditions. Now that would mean, I'm sure, that yes, it is 2:55, so the pit window is open. And there is our race leader, and also our second place man, Baron Sim, into the pits for their compulsory stop. Damien Dielenberg following them in. Those are the only 3 cars. Well, this is what we've come to see with that one pit strategy. A lot of cars coming in now. And with that car cleared, we're back to green flag racing. If you've just joined us, this is the 2018 Malaysia Championship Series. Race 2 of round 2. 5 rounds happening this year, of course. Round 3 in July, round 4 in August, round 5 in September. 2 races in each round. Plenty of racing for these hometown heroes up here at the Sabang International Circuit, and you, for the second season consecutively, get to catch all the action live on the official live stream, whether you're watching it on Facebook, whether you're watching it through the nets off the Sabang International Circuit website. Get all the results, news, views, analysis, and of course times and highlights, of course. In fact, highlights of the actual race, because of course all these archive races are there. So if you want to catch up on everything that's happened in the Malaysia Championship Series, then you can find it all on the Facebook page. Now, I can tell you, a lot more cars are in the pits, and you can tell that because a lot less cars on the track. Kifli Othman, Baron Sim, Damien Dielenberg, Boy Wong, Akin Azli on Yu Wei, Abdul Katir, Eric Yong, Go Eng Peng, Dennis Ng, Chong Chow, Mohamed Shafiq, and YC Fu, all in the pits. And there is that number 825 car that caused the full course yellow, Mohammed Amirul Heikel. As you can imagine, with so many cars in the pits, once again, it'll take a couple of laps to settle into positions, but as of now, Go Li Heng and Roy Tang are the two drivers that have been logged as completing 9 laps, and also on 8. They, of course, haven't come in for their pit stop yet. That there is Brendan Paul. As I said, had a stormer of a race yesterday, was right in the thick of things. And that's Nick Marr. And so they emerge from the pit lane. Slightly faster stop perhaps from Baron Sim, who's come out ahead of Keith Hoffman. But with that pit stop safely underway, they can get back to the business of racing. Now they're coming up on Geraldine Reed into turn 1. Baron Sim with a sudden cut on the inside, could have come across the front bumper of Keith Hoffman, and they literally have wasted no time since that pit stop in getting straight back to the action. I think maybe that slightly quicker stop from Baron Sim has just added a bit of impetus for Keith Hoffman, who is trying on the inside. He gets cut off and clips the curb. Both of them, though, safely past Fatsalala. Keith Hoffman just looking for any opportunity he can right now. Remember, he has been leading this race up to that pit stop, and he will feel aggrieved that he has lost the lead. Again, comes in the inside, and I don't think there's anything that Baron Sim could do about that. That was wonderful driving from Keith Hoffman. Forced himself into that inside line, and there was no way back and no defense for Baron Sim. So whatever did happen in that pit stop, and whatever time they may have gathered, just been stricken from the list. Some great driving from that number 46 Honda Civic FD2. Handy cars, Honda Civics, and of course road cars. It's one of the glorious parts of the Malaysia Championship Series. These are production cars, and that is stated in the regulations that they have to be set up as they would be for 4 seats. Of course, there aren't 4 seats in the cars, but these are the cars you see every day on the streets. Drivers, well, very special indeed. So Baron Sim tries on the outside, Keith Hoffman on the inside coming into turn 15. That should be enough for him. I don't think Baron's got enough. No, he hasn't. Now it could come down to getting past that number 99 car, Danny Chin's Suzuki Swift, which they have. They still managed to continue the battle. Danny Chin just watching. Again tries on the inside. Baron Sim doesn't get the space he needs. Keith Hoffman with a unique ability of managing to watch the road ahead of him and his mirrors and make the right moves when he needs to. But it does look like that car might need a bit more power. There's the theory that you shouldn't have to be defending if you could be extending your lead. So currently, while managing to get through is quite a masterful move. There's a lot of defending that Keith Hoffman is doing. Now that there is Kenny Lee. From the Malaysia Touring class. Had a good race yesterday, of course, Kenny Lee. That number 22, Eric Young, that's the car that had that bit of contact with Mohamed Shafiq earlier. 11 laps completed now, 27 minutes to go. Young currently in 25th, trying to get past the other Toyota Vios, Go Eng Peng, and looks to have done it as well. Here at the front of your screen. See all the cars sweeping through turns 1 and 2. Now a couple more cars coming in for their pit stops, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing Go Li Heng and Roy Tang. Yes, Roy Tang definitely in the pits. 11 laps completed. Good strategy from them to not come in with the initial pack. And joining Roy in the pits, Nick Ma, Paul Fan, Farid Sani, Adam Khalid, Fadzil Alang, Geraldine Reed, and YC Fu. So it is still Go Li Heng on 12 laps that is leading this race. Pit stops completed, the cars making their way back on the track. So the pit window set to close now in 6 minutes. That's Fadzil Alang. Whole new car for Fadzil this year, Mazda 3. Was up in the front runners in the Hondas last year. Of course, driving in a different class now, as that Mazda 3 is part of the MTC category, which is currently being led by Brendan Paul. So I did say Brendan Paul was having a great race yesterday, was having a great race today, because he's actually ended up currently 4th overall, but topping the MTC class. William Hogue just behind him in 2nd spot. That's Abdul Khatir on your left. Chong Chao just racing ahead into turn 15. Dennis Ng there turning into turn 15 as well. Eric Yong again on the inside. They've been having a bit of a scrap, Dennis Ng and Eric Yong. Now this is where that contact happened, and that is our race leader, Go Li Heng, finally coming into the pits, and that, I'm sure, he is going to concede the lead to Kifli Offman, as everyone behind Go Li Heng is also in the pits. So now there's some news from race control. Looks like a few cars were speeding through the full course yellow. Tut tut tut, that's not a good thing to do. And I'm just going to get an idea as to who that was. Eric Yong was one of them, I can tell you that now. And there's also going to be a penalty given out to Farid Sani for that contact at turn 2. And there are actually so many cars that were speeding on the full course yellow. Just trying to get an idea as we look at the Malaysia Touring class. It is Eric Yong for sure, Dennis Ng, Go Eng Peng. Those 3 will be facing drive-through penalties. I don't think any of the front runners, by the looks of it. Fadzil Alang's another driver. On Yu Wei is 2nd in the championship. Drive-through penalty there. And finally, it's also Mohammed Shafiq, as you'd expect, for that contact with Eric Yong at turn 2. So both cars that were involved in that incident, and that is how race control gets that message through to these cars. That one specifically for Farid Sani. But both of those cars that were in that incident at turn 2 have now been penalised, and pretty much all the cars are through their pit stops as well. So it's should see on the next lap, which will be lap 13. The reset positions post pit stop. But as I said, a number of drive-through penalties to be served by 6 cars. But those 6 cars are, it has to be said, at the bottom of the pack right now, so it shouldn't, with the exception of On Your Way, affect the top 10. Weather check so far is that the clouds are still holding. It is getting a bit darker. There's Nick Marr. Always easy to spot in that Suzuki Swift that we did so well last year. Nick Marr and Brendan Lim. And Kenny Lee, in fact. Those were the 3 big names from the MTC class in the 2017 season. Drifting through that chicane. Farid Sunny, don't forget, most probably coming in to serve the drive-through penalty just as I said it. Now remember, when drive-through penalty is being served, it's difficult to then manage your strategy. 60 km/h pit lane speed to be maintained, of course. That's the real penalty here. But then there's the traffic. Everybody else coming out the pit window is still open for another minute. But looks like that drive-through penalty has been served. Farid Sunny back on track, and I can now confirm our top 5 from race 2 of round 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series. Kifli Othman up front, 2 seconds ahead of Baron Sim, who is now 27 seconds ahead of Boy Wong. So a big fight with the top 2, then a bit of a drop-off. Roy Tang is in 4th, Akid Azli is in 5th, roughly 5 and 6 seconds behind Boy Wong. Damien Dielenberg is in 6th, Go Li Heng, just out of the pits, is in 7th. And that is with 20 minutes to go. So Kifli Othman still not with his lead that he would have loved, but definitely with a good chance here to get at least finish in the top 3. Hoping, of course, for his sake, that reliability problems don't plague him again. Now, as I push off, there was a huge group of cars, and it is that group that Eric Young, Abdul Qadir, Denison, Going Peng, all just bunched up there, the southern side of the circuit. That is what 2.26 seconds looks like in TV time. Looks to me like Baron Sim is closed up a little bit. We'll find out. Coming into turn 15, transponders will be activated about 100 meters past this point at the start line. And that is Kifli Othman safely through. And it's now 4.9 seconds, so correction there. He actually gained 2 seconds on Baron Sim in that lap. What a great situation we had though, Baron Sim in that pit window, watching him now. Great work from his pit crew, got him out just ahead of the leader, and they had a great scrap for about 2 laps. But Kifli was all over his rear bumper and managed to find a way through with a great move at about turn 10, turn 11. But Baron Sim will be happy with second spot right now, especially with a full 25-second lead ahead of Boy Wong. Is whether Baron Sim can make up that 4 seconds, or whether for the last 17 minutes of this race Kifli Othman can hold on, pick up 15 points and get his championship really underway. Liheng, number 93. Great decision to stay out a bit longer. Had to come in the end, of course. It is a compulsory stop. Currently running in 7th ahead of Fikri Rahim. Winner from yesterday in 8th. Onyu is settled into 9th, so not completely void of points today. Now, as I understand it, we've still got 3 more of those drive-through penalties to be served. And that's going to be going Peng. Mohamed Shafiq. And YC Fu. Well, YC Fu is definitely in the pits now, so YC Fu is serving that drive-through, and it is in fact just the first 2 names as we have a look at Kenny Lee and Nick Ma, the MTC class. That is 4th position as well, just 1 second between them, so still a big fight going on, and that's very slow, and it looks like Damien Dielenberg is having some serious troubles. Was running in 4th, is now down to 6th, and that looked very slow up into turn 7. So, moving into the 15-minute window now, race 2, round 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series, and it is very close in the MTC class that we're looking at right now. That's actually Farid Sani and Danny Chin. That's the top 2, and that's how close it is. Nick Ma looking for a way past Kenny Lee. Both of them lapping at around about 2:40 right now. 0.4 of a second between them. So that could be any of the last 4 corners of this track. Still Kenny Lee managing to fend off the advances of Nick Ma. As said, these Suzuki Swifts are so nippy into these corners. Good defensive work there as we catch up again with the touring production class. Kifli Osman there, still leading the way. 16 laps completed now, and I'm sure he's going to be taking it very carefully. Literally, I think on the 17th or 18th lap, and we last saw that car roll to a halt, and I think everyone, including myself, hopes that he can make it through the last 13 minutes, and this is going to put some real pressure on Fikri Rahim up at the top of the championship, currently 27 points. Fikri is not going to be scoring. Sorry, a correction, he is going to be scoring if he can finish in 7th. 4 points in fact, so that'll take him up to 31 points. Baron Sim finishes in 2nd. Will pick up another 12 points. That will put him on 32. So Baron Sim currently right now is the man that's going to benefit from round 2, because all he has to do is finish in 2nd, and he will be on top of the championship. That based on a good win in race 2 of round 1 and a 5th in round 2 yesterday afternoon in race 1. If you can follow it up with a 2nd here, that's 32 points and top of the table. Keith Hoffman will be on 25, and Fikri Rahim will be on 31. That's how close it's going to be in the touring production class, if, of course, everything stays the way it is now. That is Fikri Rahim, winner yesterday. As I said, will be ahead in the championship by 1 point if he can stay exactly where he is now. Meanwhile, in the MTC, the Malaysia Touring class, Kenny Lee still ahead of Nick Ma, and looking like he's actually managed to put some daylight between those two Suzukis. And was just 0.5 of a second between them. Well, that's very wide on that corner. That's not going to help. So Baron Sim coming up the straight. And no big moves as expected. Doesn't need to try to win this. I'm sure that his team by now would have informed him. He knows, of course, his own finishes as well. So he's managed to get past Chong Chow. Not having the best run out. That should be Tam Yik Chun actually in that car now. Currently in 19th. Damien Dielenberg, who was going very slowly, looks to be back up to speed, but lost a lot of ground and is currently in 15th. Was running in 6 spots, so he's definitely lost a lot of time. Just looking at his last lap, that was 5 minutes and 27 seconds. So something definitely wrong with that Honda Civic FD2. Whether he's managed to fix it on the go or not, we'll have to see, but he's not. In fact, that should be Nahan Nayan, his teammate, behind the wheel now that the pit stops are done. And that's Paul Fun. Indicator on. Paul Fun currently in 13th position, and there is our race leader Keith Hoffman coming through the chicane. Fadzil Alang and Fikri Rahim. Fadzil Alang was actually in that 3-2-1 car last season. Now Fikri Rahim is past one of those drive-through penalty victims, Danis Ung, cleanly through into turn 1. I said that car just has to finish in 7th spot to be 1 point ahead in the championship. That's how close it's going to be with 8 minutes left to go. Debris on the track as we look at Go Li Heng, who was leading this race at 1 point just after the pit window. That there is Akid Azli, currently in 5th. No significant problems for that Tedco Racing car. I was just saying that, it took a very odd line through that chicane, but is in a solid 5th position, about 7 seconds behind Roy Tang in 4th, and about 30 seconds ahead of Go Li Heng in 5th. So nice area to play out the last 7 minutes. course, barring reliability. That's what's all going to come down to now, as Baron Sim has to negotiate Danielsson and Hansu Chong, in fact. Keith Hoffman with no such troubles, and is now 9 seconds ahead of Baron Sim. So it looks like they've settled into their positions. 18 laps completed. And lapping at roughly 2:27 to 2:30 means we are, again, probably going to see about 20-21 laps. 2 more laps, Keith Lee, and you've got yourself a great weekend from one that could have been very, very different indeed based on the results yesterday. It was very random as to the order based on the downpour. Managed to finish third. That was first points for the championship for Keith Lee as well. So he'll be very happy if he can pick up another 15 to add to that. Put him on 25, as I said. That should put him in third spot. But if you want to check on any of the results, news, views, analysis, can check it on the official website of the Sepang International Circuit. That's www.sepangcircuit.com. Not just for this championship, but for all the championships that are running up this year at this wonderful circuit. Now it looks, as you can see from your screen, that the weather is beginning to close in, but I think we may have actually just beat it. There's now 5 minutes left to go. Looking pretty confirmed in terms of touring production. MTC, well, there's still that massive fight going on, I can tell you, between Kenny Lee and Nick Marr. They're both coming past my commentary box now. Yeah, that's it, you get to see them too. Brilliant. That's how close it is, and they've been like that for about 3 or 4 laps now. And it looks like Kenny Lee's actually managed to add 0.3 of a second in that last lap. So, but a lot of smoke coming out the back of his car. Oh, it seemed to stop for a second there. I thought he may have had an engine blow. Doesn't seem to have lost any pace yet. Just for the record, Go Li Heng in 6th position in the touring production class has actually just put in the fastest lap so far that we've seen of 2:29, and put in some blinding sector 3 and sector 4 times. Something definitely has spurred Go Li Heng on. Some 30 seconds behind Akil Azli, remember, in 5th. While we look at a lot of smoke that seems to be pouring out of Kenny Lee's Suzuki Swift. Perhaps it is just exhausting because he hasn't lost any pace whatsoever. There it is again. First time I saw it, I thought possibly it could have been a locked up brake, but now it's turning up a little bit too frequently. But it doesn't seem to be affecting his pace at all. Kigani Racing still on top. This will be a double win for them if they can pull it off. Now that's Baron Sim, and I think, yes, lapping Damien Dielenberg. They were actually fighting it out at one point, but Damien Dielenberg has now dropped down, or Nahanayan, sorry, has now dropped down to 17th. And Baron Sim, of course, in 2nd. There is our fastest car on the track at the moment, Go Li Heng, about 2:29.772. Now hold on, just keep it on the black stuff. Not long to go now, 2 minutes. Looks like more information has come out of race control. Baron Sim is actually in that report as well. It looks like Baron Sim and Mohammed Shafiq are going to have to report to the stewards after the session. So there is no penalty being given right now, but definitely Baron Sim has something to explain to the race control after this race. Now that is a lot more smoke coming from that Suzuki Swift. Still managing to stay ahead of Nick Marr. Can he hold on? Just a couple of minutes left to go, less than a lap, and it looks like actually like something is leaking from underneath that car. That could have been the heat haze. Nope, the car is fine. Yep, it is. Well, there's definitely something going on at the back of that Suzuki Swift. It might even be some contact on the left, on the right rear tire, looking at that great angle that we had. Can Kenny Lee hold on to the lead? Nick Marr just breathing down his neck. No problems for Keith Hoffman, who's about to start his 21st lap, and this should be the last lap. It is indeed, as you can see in the top of your screen. So Keith Hoffman is now roughly 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from 15 well-earned points. Had a lot to do in this race. Had a great start, drifted over to the left, managed to keep the lead, but then was beaten out of the pits by Baron Sim just by microseconds, and then just was all over the tail of Baron Sim until he managed to get that lead back, and after that has been building on it ever since, and is now 11 seconds ahead. So it really has been every trick in the book for Keith Hoffman. He knew how important this race was to get his championship back on track after some unlucky reliability issues in round one. There is Baron Sim, there is Damien Dielenberg, but don't be fooled, that is a difference of a lap between them. Boy Wong is actually currently in third, some 9 seconds behind the green number 66 car. So Keith Hoffman with absolutely no worries at all here in race 2 of round 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series. A race that will kickstart his championship challenge. Looking good so far. Very unlucky in round 1. But once again, this win for him is not going to put him on top of the championship. Give him 25 points, all earned this weekend in round 2. So it's really jacked up his season. But it will be between Fikri Rahim and Baron Sim, in fact, fighting at the top with just 1 point between them if they all stay where they are right now. And I keep saying it, it's the last lap. Into the back straight. It's the last turn for the Dr. Mayhem Racing team. They'll remember that turn from yesterday, skidding out where everyone else did, but this time they remember it because it should be points in the bag. Cheers from the crowd, and it's the checkered flag for Keith Hoffman and Peace Out Fun, his teammate, 15 points. And here is Sim Pongtek, Baron Sim coming through in second. In the end, 12 seconds behind the leader. Boy Wong finishes up in third. Well, actually a bit of a run right at the end for Boy Wong. His teammate Mark Darwin, of course, not here today. And finishers, we're going to have to wait now. So it has been a fantastic race 2 of round 2. That is Kenny Lee coming through, and it looks like he may have done it. Nick Ma was right behind him. So Kenny Lee does, and unsurprisingly, has an arm out the car. There is Nick Ma just behind him in the end, finishing a fair distance away, considering we could be happy at least that we had great weather for the full session. So once again, just to confirm, the top 5 in the touring production class, Keith Hoffman with a well-deserved and well-wanted win. 15 points for him. Baron Sim in second, Boy Wong in third, Akid Azli in fourth, Go Li Heng in fifth. Waiting for Roy Tang and Fikri Rahim to finish in 6th and 7th. Very important finishes there, because if Fikri can indeed finish in 7th and pick up 4 points, then he's going to be 1 point ahead in the championship. Round 3 is coming up in July, so plenty of time for all of these drivers and teams to think about what they're going to do in rounds 3, 4 and 5. So Roy Tang, I can confirm now, has finished, and Fikri Rahim should be coming across the line. There he is. Just watched him out the commentary booth. So I'll confirm top 10: Keith Hoffman, Baron Sim, Boy Wong, Akid Azli, Go Li Heng, Roy Tang, Fikri Rahim, Kenny Lee 8th, Mohamed Nasri Saad in 9th, Nick Ma in 10th, and Brendan Paul in 11th. That means that in the touring class, it was in fact Kenny Lee that did manage to come through, even though his car was having a lot of problems. Nick Ma in 2nd and Brendan Paul in 3rd. And as the cars come into Parc Fermé, of course, plenty of action happening up here at the Sepang International Circuit. So, just before we go, we're going to have a quick look at the highlights of the session. And this was the start, and as you can see right now, that's blue, gold and silver car. Keith Hoffman just drifting across to the left, getting the inside line into turn 1, cutting out Boy Wong, Damien Dielenberg and Baron Sim both jockeying around on that inside center line, but it was Baron Sim that managed to come through, couldn't hold it, and this wasn't the end of the race by any means. Those two cars, number 46 and number 66, would then have a great battle. Initially it was Boy Wong that was putting the pressure on Keith Hoffman, and this is actually going to show you exactly the kind of work that Keith had to go through to win this race, because he had to fend off the likes of Boy Wong and Baron Sim. Had that lock up on turn 1, which he controlled ever so well. Have a look at that. This was the touring class, Nick Ma and Kenny Lee having a battle for at least the last 10 laps, and there was a lot of smoke coming out the back of Kenny Lee's car in the end. Fikri Rahim, the current championship leader, manages to do that by finishing in 7th. So not the best race for him, but it's not about the races, it's about the championship. This was the only contact that we saw between Eric Young and Mohamed Shafiq. Both of them penalized for that by race control. That was a great move down the middle, full course yellow in the middle because of that contact, and of course Amirul Haikal as well, whose sporting production car had to be helped off track, shall we say, by the marshals. Then there was this great battle as Baron Sim managed to come out of the pits just a few seconds, I'm about to say 1 second, just a few seconds ahead of Keith Hoffman. Keith managed to take him back. This was the fight at that time for 3rd and 4th. And this was Eric Young and Dennis Young. The Toyota Vios is at the back of the pack, and this was the massive fight that kept on going and kept delivering for all the fans. Side by side they were. In the end, actually, Kenny Lee did manage to pick up a good few seconds, but with a drive-through penalty as well, and race control completely on their toes. There was a lot of action over the hour for race 2, round 2 here at the Malaysia Championship Series. So just checking in once again, the top 10 positions. Keith Hoffman, Baron Sim taking the top 2, and they were a full 12 seconds apart in the end. And then there was a 10-second gap between Boy Wong's Tedco Racing in 3rd, Akid Azli in 4th, Go Li Heng in 5th, Roy Tang in 6th. That's a gaggle of Tedco Racing cars all the way up to 6th. Fikri Rhyme in 7th. Kenny Lee in 8th overall, but taking top spot in the Malaysia Touring class. Nasri Saad in 9th. Nick Ma in 10th. And that is our top 10. That was a checkered flag for Kifli Othman. Well done to him. And that was the end of that race. So